Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just establish, just in case there are people here that might not know me, it doesn't look like it, but I'm the Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Lloyd Burchell. And today, basically, we're going to be handing out certificates. I know all you young ladies and gentlemen waiting patiently to get these certificates that you worked hard for. But I have to establish protocol first. I'd like to indicate that the Minister of Public Safety, the Honorable Michael H. Dunkley, JP, MP, is in our presence, as well as the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Mark Talamak, and the members of the media and invited guests. I think what we'll do is we're going to try to be brief because we know that we have challenges with the air conditioning. I will let you know, though, that it's a pleasure to have you all here. It's a pleasure also to have the Minister and the PS who are working very hard, very vigorously on our behalf. They're well aware of some of the challenges we face. So, you know, I'd like to give them a round of applause for them working very hard for us. And I can tell you, they are very well versed with our challenges. And in the future, I believe that the Minister is actually riding on a fire truck to a different engagement up at Somerset, to a truck fair. So that should be interesting. And I sent the email out to say that, well, he's already qualified. He's ridden fire trucks before. I'm just going to give a little background about how we actually got here today. And I know some people who are familiar with my stories are saying, oh no, here we go. However, the training division approached me. I'm sorry, Mr. Troy Ferbert is not here, but Ms. Roseanne Francis, I got that right. And Mr. Oldboy, is he here? Yes, Mr. Oldboy is here. Came in to my office and said, Chief, we would like to give you a presentation. And I said, does this mean money? And they said, yes. I said, wow. You know, we can't talk about anything that's going to cost us any new money. He said, no, just listen to us. So I said, okay. I brought him into the conference room and brought some of the senior officers in and trained in being well versed in PowerPoint. They are very efficient at PowerPoint, very proud of some of their presentations. And they showed me this presentation on changing the whole curriculum and all the standards in the fire service. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot of work. Are you aware of that? Yes, but I'm well aware of that. And this is what it would mean if we do this, and this is how we can get there. I said, okay, so I listened to the plan. They gave the whole spiel. And I looked at it and I said, okay, let's go for it. And they didn't know what to do. I said, well, this is how we're going to do it. You're going to come back to me with an implementation plan. You're also going to come back with a budget and a schedule on how we're going to do it. And I also don't want just a few people trained. I want everybody trained. Anybody that has to give instruction, I want them to be trained. And I believe Troy Ferbert walked away and said, we just got more work. But, however, that work has panned out to something that was very successful. We have completed the NFPA Fire Instructor 1 course, and this is why everybody is actually here to actually receive their certificates. There are also 2 people that are going to receive additional certificates, and that's for driving instruction as well as for high volume pump instructors. And they spent their time in the UK actually cleaning those skills. The funny thing is that when they came in to give their presentation, because now what we do is if you complete a course, you'll come back and give a presentation. And I just have to also acknowledge that Mr. Damon Smith had completed the NEBOSH course, which also Ms. Brenda Godfrey is also a NEBOSH certificate holder. And Damon explained that he went through how many PowerPoint slides?
Altogether about 1,400.
1,400 slides. And the pass rate on that is what, 40%?
45.
45% is the pass rate. And people from all over England actually take this course. So he's actually going to be our safety guru now. So when we have a problem, we'll take it to Damon, and of course he'll give us a slide or 2. So the NFPA Fire Instructor Course 1 was actually 2 weeks, 1 week courses which the recipients of the certificates actually sitting here endured. There were 24 staff that participated in the course. This was facilitated by instructors actually coming to Bermuda from Dallas-Fort Worth Fire Training Research Center. That was also one of my requirements, which Mr. Furbett had to fulfill. I told him we can't afford to send everybody to Dallas. I said, so call Dallas-Fort Worth, speak to the chief, and tell him, look, we need your instructors here. We'll take care of the room and board, but they have to fulfill all their requirements within 2 weeks. They hummed and hawed for a little bit, and then we got the reply, yes, we'll do it. The first week here, one of the instructors had some very good news to actually inform their training facility as well as their chief. And he took the time out and said, what? I need to come to Bermuda. And in the second week, he was actually here. And he actually met us, and he was really impressed with the facility and with the type of personnel that we had. So much so that we're actually going to partnership with him and look for other training opportunities, which you might hear about shortly. At the conclusion of the course, all the instructors have been certified. You all passed. And I assured him that you would. And you've all passed the requirements under the National Fire Protection Association, which is the NFPA 1041. The purpose of this program is to prepare experienced firefighters to demonstrate and perform the duties of a fire service instructor in accordance with NFPA 1041. A person certified as an instructor, one, will have demonstrated the ability to perform at the first level of progression as a fire service instructor. The good news is that I didn't stop there with the training department. They are actually going to have to do Fire Instructor 2, which is at a higher level, because I figured if they have to instruct you, then they need to be a little bit higher at their game. So they actually leave Sunday and will be back on the 12th. Mr. Furbett is not here because he's actually already out there and he's actually doing simulation training. So he's actually learning to use the simulation program that we purchased a few years ago. He's actually now going to be able to put it into effect. So you're going to be tested again in dealing with incidents. And what this software does is allow for Mr. Furbett to go anywhere in Bermuda, take a photo or video, and make an actual incident of it. I think some of you have had some exposure with that. I actually tried it out, and I took one of the secretaries inside, and I said, look at this. And she was looking at the Bermuda, the Bermuda motors actually burning down. And she said, when did that burn down? They built it right back up real quick. And I said, no, it's a software simulation. So you can see how realistic it is. That, you know, when you show somebody it actually happening, because it pumps out smoke, you see people screaming, people running, and it's very realistic. So I think we'll get good use of it when he returns. The high volume pump course, which was done by Mr. Sumner and Mr. Masters, yeah, they're both here, was a 1-week course starting at the Fire Service College. And then there was a 2-week course, do I have it back to front? It was a 2-week course, at Cheshire Fire and Rescue. And they came in and gave a presentation, and they showed me these videos at the start. And, you know, they said, well, this is a video of them going to a call. So I'm thinking they're driving the vehicle. And this vehicle gets in an accident. And I was like, no. And they said, no, it's somebody else. There's another guy who did that. I said, okay. It was a pretty interesting video because you see this fire truck going through traffic, and the roads are very similar to Bermuda. And he drives right off the road, and you heard the comments made by the firefighters on the truck, the driver, the IC, and it's really funny, you know, sometimes you think about it and you say that a lot of people don't think of that. You know, what happens if we get in an accident? You know, so these guys have honed their skills, and we shouldn't have any more accidents, right? No? We need to keep those bills down. So they now can provide instruction as far as getting you guys to be driving, I would say, as efficient as possible and safe as possible. There's no sense going to a call or getting into an accident because you don't get to achieve what you initially read after Station 4 in the first place, because we have to stop and obey the rules just like everybody else. So if a fire truck has an accident, it has to stop. It has to wait for the police. It has to be investigated. Another fire truck has to be sent to the incident, which you all know. So these guys now are designated part of our succession plan because, as we know, we lost one of our driver instructors who retired. Mr. Fox is still here, and we're hoping he stays a little bit longer before he decides to retire, but he can retire anytime, you could? In May. We're hoping to get the last ounce of work out of him. Even he may resist, but we're gonna try. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the minister up to say a few words. And did I keep that brief, Mr. Wilkinson? Yes. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief. It is always a pleasure to be here at headquarters at Bermuda Fire and Rescue. And I'm not going to announce one of those code words when politicians or anybody, when they stand up to speak, they say, I'll try to be brief. I've just got a few things to say. And if I hear that in the House of Assembly, I go to the coffee room because I know it's going to be a while. So I never say it. I say I've got a few things to tell you, and it might take longer to tell you than I expected. But it is always a pleasure to be here today. And every time I come back here, I have fond memories of the time that I spent here. And coming today to have the opportunity to present these certificates was very important. And the Chief did allude to my attendance at Somerset Primary in about 2 weeks' time. And when I was invited, they said it was a truck fair. And so I thought, wait a sec, PS? We can ride in on a fire truck. And when I got no pushback immediately, I said, we're going to do that. And then I pulled out my license. I just got my license renewed, and I can still drive a fire truck. So we might have some argument if I'm driving up road, because I'm sure the Chief's going to say it's outdated because it's 20 years now. But certainly certification and training in any occupation is important. But in the services such as Bermuda Police Service and the Regiment and the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service and Corrections, all under the Ministry of National Security, is vital. We can't do without it. Because while people wait for us to deal with them in times of emergency, they expect us to deal with them in the most proper, efficient, and safe way. And you guys, the effort you put into, Chief and the colleagues before you, the effort you put into staying at the top of your game is taken for granted by many in the community. As a minister, I certainly don't take it for granted. I understand the challenges that we all have to go through in taking these courses, the time it entails, the expense it entails, and the disruption from your normal activities that still have to go on. So I want to congratulate all of you for stepping forward and meeting these challenges. It's most appreciated by the ministry and the government of Bermuda because it allows us to stand taller and show more pride in the work that we have to do. And I know you'll put these certifications to good use. So, Chief, thank you for having me here today. It is an opportunity, a real distinct opportunity for me to have the pleasure to shake your hands today when you get certificates. Thank you.
Oh, that's what you said. Mr. Jamal, oh boy. Miss Cedar Bean. Christopher Barrow. Mr. Troy Brimmer. Mrs. Shannon Casey. Mr. Leonard Davis. Mr. Paul Deal. Ms. Roxanne Francis. Mr. Vance Hassel. Mr. Mark Hinton. Mr. Dennis McGowan. Mr. Mark Pacheco. Mr. Scott Queen. Mr. Alan Wilkerson. Mr. Philip Woods. And of course, Mr. Raymond Masters, who is picking up several certificates for driving, pump operating for high volume, as well as a certificate for the training. And likewise, Mr. DeRoy Summers. If there was anybody that we forgot, your certificate's in the mail. I just want to give a special thanks for Mr. Bramwell, who made a considerable effort to be here. He was recently involved in an accident. We didn't think he was going to make it. I know he can't say much right now because his jaw's still wired, but he's made a considerable effort to come here today, and we appreciate that. And I know Mr. Wilkerson's looking and saying, oh no, he's got closing remarks. It's a second chance. But no, I'm going to keep it brief. And I'm going to say, you know, keep your heads up, you know, keep dedicated, keep working hard. And I think what we want to do is to be able to, every time we look up and we see that fire truck with those words on the Bermuda Fire and Rescue, that we're a part of that. You know, we are the ones that actually are the ones that do the work. You know, as people come and tour our stations, they see all the nice appliances, they see the bays all clean. But we know the most important aspect of this fire department, this fire station, are the people that come here and dedicate themselves and are out there doing hard work. And in particular, last night I actually went past the scene at Clearwater. I don't know if you drove through it also, but there was an accident just out near the marketplace in Shelley Bay. And when I drove past, I felt great pride to know that I could go to any accident scene and see that fire truck and know that the people there are going to be treated 100% with professionalism and with a high amount of skill. And the thing is, we replicate that anywhere in this country. You can go to an incident in Somerset, you will see the same activity if this is an accident as it will be in St. George's. You know, there's no difference in our performance. And that's why we actually made this, I should say, initiative a reality, is to ensure that we deliver quality and expertise when it's required. You know, and that's the job of a firefighter. We never know when we're going, where we're going. I remember those days sitting in the truck as an IC. I miss those days. Sometimes I'm jealous of you guys. You know, you get to go out there and you get to figure it all out. You get to use your expertise. You help somebody. You know, and you go back and you go to the station. You talk about it. You laugh about it, and you get ready for the next call. You know, I don't get that opportunity. You know, anymore. You know, I miss those days. I think we might, as officers, think about that. Maybe one time we might have an initiative where we can ride the appliance for a night. I know most of you say no. You wouldn't want to see us back out there trying to show you what we learned a long time ago. Those days are past. We're learning new things, new tricks, new equipment. So we have to leave it to those that know best. And every time, you know, I'll tell you, when I drive past those fire trucks, I'm jealous. You know, I'm tempted to get out, and I know I'll just get in the way. You're doing a good job, and keep at it. Thank you.